Hello everyone and welcome. I have the wonderful Bee Hart with me today, one of my lovely clients and friends who recently came to me in person for her second session with me. And we're going to have a little talk about her session and how she's doing. Thank you so much, Bee, for being here. Can you give us a little roundup of how your session went and how you are? And yeah, tell us a bit about the session.
Yeah, the session was really special. It's always as if I am opening a present. I don't ever know what's in the box, so it's always a total surprise. So it's firstly always, I think, because I've had several sessions already with different practitioners, it's always just so beautiful to, the state of relaxation you go into, and the trust that I have in the practitioner really makes me feel so safe and so right. I don't even go there with any expectations. I have questions, of course, and we have talked about them, and you have them, but I'm really totally open to it. So it was, again, a big surprise, a huge surprise. Brought up a lot of things for me, a lot of information that was, yeah, it was new, and it was new in terms of my purpose in life. That really surprised me. And it's really funny that it surprised me to this extent, because it entails a lot of stuff that I have experienced as a woman, as becoming a mother, and all these kind of things. But I kind of must have a belief system in my subconscious mind that I'm not meant to talk about this or share this with younger women, which doesn't make sense at all. So it's really funny. Anyway, so and at the same time, I feel like, oh my goodness, I've come with this big kind of thing. It's just like I trusted myself from a soul level to do the work. And maybe it's also because I've been working with this a lot. I've been educating a lot of people in the past, but I was more a missionary, coming from a similar place that you come from, with like experiences that I didn't want to repeat, and that I didn't want anyone else to have to go through. And it's definitely the wrong way to start and change things. I've learned that now. Always a revelation. It's work with, and with which one's limiting me. So it was very enriching. I couldn't give myself a bigger gift than a session with you. It's no way. It's the biggest ever. So I'm feeling great. I'm nearly reminded every day of it. It's nearly 3 weeks now, I guess. After only 2 weeks, I had a workshop that I was going to give with a very dear friend. And this dear friend got such a tonsillitis, she couldn't talk. So she asked me to do it myself, just by myself. It was a really interesting experience, because one of the women that I met was a midwife. And she was a midwife who had exactly the experiences we actually had seen in the session. She had prepared her own childbirth with 3 babes, with water and all the gentleness that we have been talking about. She had been seeing a native women giving birth and had assisted them in Haiti after the tsunami back then, and things like that. So I could see immediately how whatever I was seeing in my session was so related to my normal life. I was meant to meet this woman only 2 weeks after. Yeah. And part of the message, remember, was encouragement for those who work in the system, in hospitals and everywhere, to encourage them to keep going, because it's very frustrating very often when they want to help and to assist the women and the babies more, and there's so many constraints. So I could do that. So I have had already opportunities to actually help others with the knowledge that I gained in a session. So I'm more than just happy.
Wonderful. So yes, I posted some of the clips from the session. I'll put the links in the description so people can go and have a look um, at those bits of the session for themselves to see the information that came through. So what about the physical aspects of the session, the physical healing parts of the session? How were they for you, and how do you feel now since the session?
It was very interesting. I did have more and more often recently pains in my right leg and different really like spot-like pains, and they were very severe, and no matter what I did. And when I say what I did, I'm not taking any medication. I haven't done that for, I don't know, hardly ever in my life. But I was doing meditation and I was trying to do release work and all this, and it wouldn't go. So I thought it's a good opportunity to ask in a session. And I was shown that whatever pains I was having was like a memory in my genetic material from a time in another space time, or long ago, where I did have like a replacement for a lost leg. My whole right leg, or was lost, and I was giving like a replacement, and it was powered by, I don't know, electricity or something, and where the impulses were given for the leg to be moved, I would have these severe pains. And I was educated on how my energy body hadn't been healed from the loss of the leg, and it also hadn't been introduced to the fact that there was an artificial limb coming in. So it was so interesting to actually see where the problem came from. It was just something like, we always talk about compatibility in terms of technology. So two things will not work together. The printer will not produce any paper if it's not linked. And we just cut out limbs from people and hips and replaced them with something, but we never heal the energy body. And that was so important. So in the session, I was shown all the pictures and how should be done, and the healing was happening. And I was also given the information that I needed to work on this. So I could easily pull that back in, that belief system, which has become part of the genetic material from my whole ancestral line. So whenever I think of it in my meditation, I actually go back and see if my energy body is still okay, if I'm healing this or have healed it properly. And so I have learned that we need to actually introduce new parts that come into our body to the energy body. We need to talk to the energy body and say, look, this tooth had to go because it wasn't working anymore. And so we heal that in the energy body. And then we say, look, there is a new tooth coming in now. And this is such a good thing because it helps the person to have a better life quality. And this already helps. So I thought it was an amazing thing. And I have to say that apart from a few little flare-ups in one area where actually the artificial limb hadn't been adjusted properly right from the beginning, and the person that I was back then was having real problems and was wearing down the artificial parts. Apart from that, I haven't had these really severe pains. So they're all gone. And I'm so grateful that I have the knowledge now and I could share it with a few people. I'm very aware it's not easy to share this knowledge with anyone yet, telling them you have a hip replacement and you need to do this. So, but who knows, in the future, maybe people will be open. So that is totally gone and it's really beautiful. I may say something because, Nina, you have many people thinking about having a session. And what I've noticed is every single time I book a session, before the session, at least a week before, there may be physical symptoms coming up, or there may be emotional issues coming into my life that I thought I had dealt with. And it seems like if they are representing themselves so that they come to the forefront in the session. So it seemed to be as like a ripe apple that wants to be picked. So it can be worked on. So it's so that people don't chicken out, the last minute. It is something really that is supported by our guidance system, by our soul, by our, what is it, guardian angels, people, whatever they call it, it's supported. So if something comes up majorly, that's the one you can finally work on, you can finally release. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's as if our higher selves are giving us signposts to what we need to be looking at even before the session even starts.
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, you will get
yeah,
a physical symptom suddenly come up, or you'll remember a traumatic event or something and it's all in preparation so that you can really pinpoint the things that you are ready to overcome and gain clarity on. So yeah, it's amazing how supported we really are. What about I remember a couple of other bits from your healing, your heart. You had this shield around your heart, which was from your birth,
yeah.
your own birth, which was stopping you being able to fully meet your God self, your divine self, your full connection with the other realms. How is your heart feeling now?
Yeah, that was very interesting. It was really like I was anticipating, like it's like opening the door into a Christmas land or something special. And at the same time, I was so afraid that these emotions would be so big, so beautifully big that I couldn't bear them. So that's how I realized it was there. And I could see them working on it together with me. And I was told that in my meditations, I should keep working on it because I had made really sure that nothing would hurt me again that very way. And we all know these experience, even in especially I think in teenage times, when you start, maybe you have a first crush on someone and then someone is really rude on you, and just that moment in public says something, and you're like, your heart stops beating, and you feel that blackness, and then your heart starts to race, and you feel like you want to actually go into the ground, you vanish and stuff like that. So these are, I think, the moments of biggest devastation. Like it's like that's the true heartbreak that really you feel you really want to die that moment. You don't want to be there anymore. And that was exactly what I could feel. Like if I go and see it, like my God self, and I have to leave again, that space, I will be heartbroken. So with them starting the healing, I was feeling much freer. I can still feel there's a little bit left. It's not totally gone because I have safeguarded myself certainly really well. But I've been continuously working on it. And I actually had maybe in the first week afterwards, we have family and friends who are very close to us, who help us through triggers to work on things. And I had 3 days built up on, yeah, how will I say that? Bringing forward my healing on this. So there was kind of a lot of issues coming up that were kind of painful, and I was trying to shield myself, or stepping out of the situation even and watch it. But I was triggered so badly that I felt the pain coming on. The third day was so bad that I thought, okay, this is something I have to change. I can't do this anymore. And the very moment I thought this, I realized that this person was actually my teacher, bringing it to the fore. In that very moment, I immediately brought in the two that were present in the session, which were Jesus and Mother Mary, and said, thank you, thank you. And I immediately opened this up for the healing. And the golden light was streaming in exactly the same way it did during the session. And it was bringing up that kind of pain, and it was going through my throat chakra, and I could see like black goo, energetically, black goo coming out. And I could clearly see how our inability to speak is very much, often at least, related to heartbreaks, because we don't speak because we can't speak. Like what happens is we are unable to speak. So that was a major breakthrough for me. I was so grateful. I was so grateful for the person. I was so grateful for the fact that I actually was able to realize this. I would have never, ever, ever had a chance to realize this was part of my healing without the session. You know, I would have taken steps to get out of a situation that was actually meant to help me to heal. But I could only work this way because I had received pre-healing and profound pre-healing through what we call Christ consciousness, which was really, really like a profound. It's like a golden, it's like a golden plaster. It's like a golden band-aid that they put there, and that is gently rub in like a salve or something. So yeah, that is a very special situation. And to be honest, I feel very precious about this healing process. Mm-hmm. It's really like I'm holding a gift in my hands now and every day. And I could share that in my workshop as well with the people that I was surrounded by. And I could share my vulnerability. And I know, of course, that everybody has these wounds. They are really, really deep wounds. And we have learned in the session that they very often just start with the cutting of the umbilical cord. That's happening too fast, too quick. So I have just, I mean, I've gained so much that I, what I say, I should give you $5 million or you so proud for the session. You know, it's just, there's such a lightness now for me and around my heart, so much peace and confidence. Like, I can talk about all this, and I can show my vulnerability now, and I'm not afraid. Although I still have a little bit of that shield, I know, but probably I need it for whatever else is coming, you know, and that I don't forget too quick. Maybe I will never forget, but it's great to have it. I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm so grateful.
I also remember a bit during your session where you had something going on in your stomach, and do you remember? And your higher self couldn't quite pinpoint why it was there, so we went in and spoke to your stomach. And yeah, tell us a bit about that and how your stomach is now. How is that?
It's actually gone. It's totally gone. And I had it so often. Like, I have to probably explain to people, like I was often having, I was feeling hungry and I was eating a little bit. And then I got into, when I started to eat, I had to eat more and more, although I was probably full already. And then I felt so heavy afterwards, not really good. And I thought, why am I doing this all the time? And then I used to have these really strange pains. I would nearly call them hunger pains, even though I was not hungry because I had eaten probably, or I knew for sure I wasn't hungry. And so we asked the stomach, and the stomach said that I had taken these pains from my dad, whom I loved so very much. And I was shown pictures because, and I know intellectually because I was told that my dad, as a young child, like he was born 1931, so before the war, there was a lot of hunger in his family. So they very often wouldn't get more than a slice of bread a day. And so he was very hungry. And there was a lot of anger in his stomach as well, because he was so hungry and he was so angry that he first had to be hungry, and he was angry about himself being angry about this fact because he knew there was no food in the house, otherwise he would have gotten this. And me being an empath and loving my dad the way I do and did, I just wanted to help him. So I took a little bit of that anger. It was an angry kind of rumbling or whatever it was in my stomach. So I took it, and my higher self, or was it the stomach, said she took a little bit because she was small. So I would have probably taken more if I could have. So that was really nice, and it's gone. It's Wow. Definitely gone. I haven't had it at all. Yeah. And this also became stronger working towards the time that we were going to meet for the session.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, amazing. That's amazing.
really beautiful.
Yeah, because I remember when I was speaking to your anger, the anger in your stomach, I was speaking directly to it. And I was saying, no, we really would like to go now. We don't feel we need to be here. We want to leave. They seemed quite happy that we'd made that connection and that we're going to get to go
Yeah.
off and be returned to the light, I guess.
Which is something that I would like to say. Um, I have learned through my session that nearly everything in our body mind system that causes us some discomfort or even more than discomfort is something that really, really is there very often and wants to go. It sounds probably really weird to people that we say we spoke to my stomach, and in the stomach we spoke to the anger. But it's actually a manifestation of consciousness in a way that it becomes its own entity and needs acknowledgement. Now, this as well has given me such power over a lot of things in my life, knowing this and, you know, allowing things to go back into the light when they're ready, like when the lesson is learned. I think this is just incredibly beautiful.
So, can you tell me what has been the most important thing that you've gained from having this session with me? What's the moving forward? What's the most important thing that this session has given to you?
Okay, the most important session part is that I actually really do know what is coming my way, like what I will be doing in the future. I actually have learned that even though I'm doing proactively a lot of work, that some of the work that I'm going to do will, so to say, come to me. I could see that it's not even me organizing, for instance, these workshops. So they will be organized, especially these things around women and giving birth, and later on actually about uh, conception and light conception and these things. I'm not teaching them, but I will somehow be involved. So that gives me, I feel empowered. I feel at peace. I feel I don't have to do anything. I can just be myself, and I can keep continuing learning and healing as many blockages in my own body, mind, soul complex, so that I can actually receive more knowledge and more light. So that's the biggest one for me. I think you can't be more than empowered. Like, you know, that's the biggest part of it. And you feel so much calmer and peaceful. It's no comparison to before. And knowing also that my heart shield is going, so I know exactly my heart is wider open, like more naturally open, in a very healthy way. That's my biggest takeaway. Yes.
Amazing. So, can you give a little explanation for our viewers what it is like to have a BQH session, what it actually feels like to be in a state of trance? Can you give us a little explanation?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought what everybody else thinks. It's like you're gone and then you're in a state and you have no control, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So you're guided to relax a lot, but I found myself in a place of so much clarity that I was nearly doubting that I can actually see all these things. I may possibly make them up. Now, I have to say, with your session, it was my 5th session overall. And the first time I had a session, the practitioner said to me, what first comes to mind, say it. You're not making it up, just say it, which I did. And I can say, the more I spoke what I saw, felt, or knew, the more imagery I got. It was really like watching an amazing movie. And you really want to only sit there and watch, but it is of no help, because if you don't have any words spoken, so you don't have any recording, later you will not have any recollection, or less than you have um, when you don't have the recording. So for me, like, every time I go into these sessions now, I'm more awake. I couldn't be more awake than I am in these sessions. Such clarity. It's like, and I've no doubts anymore at all. Whatever I see, I know it's there. But I have to say, even after these sessions and doing meditations, I know my little voice in the back, and I deal with it the way I said, no, thanks, not now. And you just step back. There will still be on and off this, are you sure? And I'm like, I've learned to trust this. I've learned to trust this because, as I said before, I'm given information, and only a few days after, I get all the validation. I get the people into my life. I get these opportunities. So it's like, it's a clarity that I don't ever have in daily life. Never. You're as sharp as it gets. So clear. You could go on for half a day or 2 days. Like, you could tell stories other people would write books about, like,
Yeah.
it works. So, oh no, it's a state you want to be more often because you're so in control.
That's the big misconception about hypnosis, I guess. I see it all the time. People think that they're not going to be in control because that's what they've seen on the stage. But this kind of work is not that kind of stage hypnosis where people are being manipulated. It's nothing like that. This is all it all comes from you. It's guided by your practitioner, but all of the information comes from you and through you. And it's all guided by your higher self. So it's
and it's really beautiful. I would say you can come into the same kind of state in a meditative state, but you wouldn't have anybody guiding you, because you would just get lost in one spot. But because we have spoken about the questions that I have, you as a practitioner will take charge and we say, look, and she had these and these questions. And so it's the ideal situation, to be honest. And you have had many sessions with other clients, but you will see very often, even in my sessions, I could see really important. Higher self will say, and she wonders, as in her human setup, she wonders, why does she always do this, that, and the other? And it's not even on the list that I gave to you. And this question will be answered because my higher self thinks it's important for me to know. I think that's amazing. So yeah, it's very well guided.
amazing. Thank you so much. So we did this session in person. Your previous session with me, we'd done online, and I think you'd done a few other ones online as well. But this time you came to visit, which was lovely, and we did the session in person. Can you tell us a bit about what the difference was and how it was to do it in person, just so people know what it's like?
I think my answer will disappoint a lot of people who are just convinced that they need to come to the practitioner because that's the only way to do it and the only way to feel safe, to have a tangible person. Although I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, we get on really well, and we knew before, and it was very special to lay down next to you and have you sitting there. But I had done the online session, and I would say, because I close my eyes and I just listen to your words, after a few minutes, it doesn't really make a difference anymore. We are in the same space. I feel as safe as I could be. And when I'm here in my own bed, the big advantage is after the session, if I need to go to the bathroom and drink a ton of water, I can do this, and I can go back into my bed and I can just be in that state, in that energy. I can bath in it. People cannot imagine how beautiful it is. It's like the most beautiful shower or bath in golden light. Like you feel like you're bathing in honey and the most beautiful things. So if you go to Nina at home, you will have to travel home. So after some time, she can give you maybe an hour or so if she has time to, to, to just come back into this reality. But you will have to go into a car, a bus, or whatever. But if you're in your own home, you can just stay there. And I would actually say for people who do their first, maybe to plan it in a way that they have maybe a day after just to themselves, that they don't have to go out, so they can really slowly land back in that space. So that's the only difference. And I mean, for us, to me, the speciality was like with your pets around, and especially the cat,
Yeah.
who we learned he is.
Yeah.
So that was very special.
Yeah,
I
Mowgli
have to
decided
say, yeah.
to come in and have his own moment on screen on the camera. That was really fascinating that he came in just when you were wanting to speak about your lion heart roots and your connection to Lyra. And for anybody who don't know, Lyra is a planet who have lion humanoid beings that are on that planet. So it was really interesting that Mowgli, my cat, decided to come in just as we were speaking about this and sit next to you on the bed and look very majestic. That was very well timed.
And it was incredible how he already greeted me before. I've never ever seen a cat coming to me and actually nearly kissing my finger when I came into the house. I was amazed. I had never seen that. But when I understood and I saw the imagery, it was so beautiful because he really literally is part of the same, I don't know, ray or whatever. Like we
Yeah,
are coming from exactly the same part of consciousness. So I
yeah,
could see that. It was amazing. Of course, that was very special for 101. But I mean, that as well is guided by our higher selves. The fact that I wanted to travel to Edinburgh and you are so close by, and we just did it. Of course, there's no coincidence. So.
absolutely not. So, what's next for you, B? I know you've decided that you're going to do the BQH course. Can you tell us how you're doing with it, and tell us how you are, and yeah, what's next?
Yeah, I surprised myself. I surprised myself asking the question, because I have loads of people in my surrounding that I feel would benefit from a session, but they would never ever go to anyone, because they have so many experiences that they can't trust anyone, but they may potentially trust me. So if I that's why I thought if I have the training, I could actually help them, uh, and open up to the knowledge that's inside them. Because as usual, from the outside, other people can see who we are, but we can't. So we benefit so much from so many little bits and pieces that we can see in these sessions, that makes so much sense why we're avoiding things, why we're raging about things, why we love things. And so that's what I'm doing. I haven't really intended to have a big practice, but whenever I think that, I hear my I hear my higher self saying, please don't say that, please don't think that. You're going to do what's necessary. And I have to say, I've done a few modules, and I can see already, energetically, a lot of things changing and shifting. My sensitivity, my intuition, my clair abilities are picking up already, and I feel like a huge excitement in my heart space. So I feel, yeah, it's one of the parts that I certainly should be doing. So thanks to you and the other beautiful beings that do all these sessions, I got inspired. And I've been thinking very often, like the last 2 years, would I want to do it? And I always said no. And suddenly I thought, oh, maybe I should look into that. So I'm happy, very happy. I've started it. So see what happens.
And so what would the advice that you would give to someone who's interested in having a BQH session, but they're just not sure? What would you say to someone?
I would say to someone to definitely go and try it. I would say definitely have no expectations. Have have a list of questions, whether it's 3 questions or 25, it doesn't really matter. Um, Bring them to the practitioner and talk about what's highest priority if you have a long list, and then just allow yourself to be in a space, because what happens in these sessions, it's all about you. It's only about you, and you will feel that never ever has anybody cared as much about yourself as is happening right now in that session. That I feel is the most important part. It's all about you, and you know it. You know whatever you hear, see, and know is coming from love. There is never judgment. Everything is like so gentle. Everything is so loving, so caring. Um, it's just like you can just be who you are. And I think that's probably the thing that's so important, that's maybe a door opener really, that you finally see that you can be, at least in that session, first of all, be who you really are, and that may open it for you in daily life, that you dare to be yourself more often, a tiny bit more.
Yeah, because I think people are really worried about having a session, and naturally they're just not sure what's going to happen or come through, and there's a lot of fear there, and they don't realize that everything that you are shown and given in a session is no more than you can handle. You're not given anything that is too much for you, and even if you're having an experience that feels very powerful, you can view it as an observer, or you can kind of turn the dial down a bit, so you don't have to feel things very intensely, or repeat a trauma or anything like that. It is very, very gentle. And your higher self's on your side. They don't want you to you don't want you to they don't want you to not be able to handle what you're experiencing. Everybody is on your side, and like you say, there's absolutely no judgment. So yeah, it's amazing work. And
I think it's a good Christmas present, actually. I would buy one myself. I think I will, actually. And I would, if whoever listens to it and is looking for something that they don't have yet, maybe ask for the money for this session. It really is worth it. And I mean, not all of the sessions obviously can be so spectacular. I find my sessions quite spectacular, but I think mine are because I've been doing a lot of work on myself for years, and I've been searching all my life for why and how, and I have never been afraid of facing a lot of things. I would have like patterns and belief systems to avoid things, and I think this is a great opportunity for me to come into a session where I can actually come face on with these things that really hurt me so much that I want to shy away. And I did get, like in my session, I got, I mean, Jesus and Mother Mary came in to assist me, like Christ consciousness, just like, helping me. So it is a great thing to gift yourself, to get more insight in who you really are. And it could be tiny things, but they will shift. They will shift your life. There's no way it doesn't have any impact on you, like a positive impact.
And
So, but have no expectations.
Yeah, no expectations. Having had a few sessions myself, I would say as well, it is very much like peeling an onion, peeling the petals off a flower. It's layers and layers of yourself, and it's whenever you're ready to face the next layer, then you can go in and go again. And I always find myself, I go deeper every time I do a session. Because you know the process, you trust the process, and you're just ready to just relax into it. And it's I've been thinking about doing some packages for people as well, about doing maybe 3 or 5 sessions for people, so they can go on a full process, transformational process, and really get that coaching in between time, where I do that one-on-one kind of one-on-one help, and we get to come together and talk and speak about how you're integrating and how it's all going for you, and what you're going to be ready for in the next session type thing. So yeah, you can really go anywhere with it. So we've been talking for a while now, I think. So I think maybe we should wrap this up. I want to thank you so much, Bea, for coming on and talking to me. And it's such a joy to speak to you always. Have you got any final words that you'd like to give? Is there any details and information that you can give to people if they want to come and find you?
For me, firstly, I think just do self-care, a lot more self-care. Be gentle with yourself. And if you want to give a big self-care package to yourself, then maybe take advantage of Nina's package, or even one session. I myself still in the process of learning a lot and sharing a little bit. So Facebook is my Bee's Heart. And I do YouTube as well, same name. I'm constantly creating things and writing a little bit here and a little bit there. I think I'm moving forward quite slowly, but I'm very happy with this. Whatever way I feel, I share at the moment. But I'm doing more and more, and I have started more and more doing one-on-ones. Although I would love groups as well. I think I will be more doing groups in the future. So we have a few more people getting the same knowledge at the same time. And at the same time, if we are in a group setting, even like in an online group setting, we have the energies together, like we are like a circle, and that makes a lot of a difference. So I like that very much, to bring that energy together and create that coziness within even like an online situation. So that's what I like to do, and what I'm creating at the moment consistently. And then I think till the end of the year, I will know more, once I'm moving forward more with my modules in BQH. I feel like a little child right now doing this.
Yeah, I know. I remember how I felt when I was doing the course. I loved it so much, and I've made no secret of saying that I didn't want to finish the course. I loved it so much. It was great. And I will link a code down below at the bottom of this video in case anybody's interested in doing the course themselves.
Yes.
And yes, I'll link all the rest of my information down below too. So thank you so much, Bea, for coming on, and I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and we will speak to you again soon, I'm sure. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.